Yo, what up? We just got the new K-pop skins with the K-pop event, and it's honestly one of the more fun events that Overwatch 2 has had. In my personal opinion, it's probably the most fun with an event game mode I've had so far, but people have certainly been having problems with it. It is probably one of the more difficult game modes with just how sweaty it is right now. This might go down a bit in the future as people, stop trying to try as hard to get their challenges done. I think a lot of the reason why it's so sweaty is because people are sweating their asses off trying to get those 500 points that you need to get that one title. So I figured I'd make a quick video to try and maybe help some people out, talking about the game mode, some weird small details about the gameplay, different strategies to try and win so you can hopefully actually get that achievement for getting 500 points and not have it take 25 years, and hopefully just have a good time discussing it. Now about the game mode itself, it's pretty simple. There will be ticket machines that spawn on the map. You go over, you break them, they drop tickets, you pick up the tickets, then after breaking the machine, and only after breaking the machine will the ticket drop-off point appear. If you don't break the machine, it will not appear until the machine is broken. The same thing for the Junkrat mini-boss that occurs in the game mode. That too, if you don't defeat Junkrat, it will not spawn the point that you can deliver the tickets to. So usually you'll have a team fight. Whichever team wins will go ahead and then go break the first ticket booth, get the tickets, and then the delivery point for the tickets will be randomly chosen from 4 different points on the map, specifically here, here, and down here. And then it kind of functions as King of the Hill, where if you fully capture the point, then you have control over it, and any heroes that have tickets in their inventory will deposit them and they will be safely in your team's scorecard. Now what happens if you don't deliver them and instead you get eliminated by the enemy team? Well, then you drop all of your tickets and then the enemy team is able to pick theirs up. You'll also sometimes hear the announcer Junkrat say that there is going to be an ultimate ticket machine. This still gives the same amount of tickets, it's just that in addition to dropping tickets when you destroy it, it will also drop a small ultimate canister that will give whichever hero picks it up 50% of their ultimate charge. So a very good way to get an ultimate that you can use to win a fight if your team is the one that breaks that specific ticket machine. And then of course, after 3 rounds of ticket machines, then the man of the hour himself, Junkrat, will join the fray and will function as an AI-controlled mini-boss. But do not take him lightly. I've seen this man absolutely fuck people up. He has gotten so many random kills in some of the most bizarre ways possible. I'll show it on screen, but he killed me after he died by comboing me from one concussion mine into another concussion mine. He has like some of the craziest kills I've ever seen in a game of Overwatch. So yeah, especially if there's a team fight going on, you might just want to help your team win the fight before you try and take care of him. Because I've seen stuff go very wrong for teams that try and split their attention between both Junkrat and the enemy team, because usually the Junkrat will do some insane shit and just completely fuck someone up, and then the other team will capitalize off of that, go in and win the fight, and then they just win the fight, and then they just get to kill Junkrat for free and take his tickets, because Junkrat will drop 5 tickets, and then he will also drop a stick. And the stick is very important because the stick has the value of 10 tickets. But it comes at a cost because the stick functions the same as the flag would in Capture the Flag game modes, meaning that if you use any movement ability, you will drop the stick. Because of this, usually if you have a diva on your team, they're usually the best hero to take it and carry it around just because they have a lot of health, they have defense matrix, and if you have supports on your team, then they can just pocket the diva and keep her alive. So that's kind of the basics of how the game mode works. And then I believe after Junkrat, whichever team has more points will win. I don't know if I've ever seen a round go past the Junkrat round. Normally teams will get the goal of 25 tickets by then, so not too clear on that one, but I believe after Junkrat it will possibly just decide who wins based off of which team just has more tickets. So now for some strategies. With ticket collecting, usually the best hero to pick up your tickets is going to be KarQ or one of the 2 DPS heroes, because you do not drop the tickets when you use a movement ability, meaning that Sombra being able to turn invisible and just stay stealthed can just snag some tickets and then just go and hide out with them. And the same with KarQ being very good, because if your team is under attack, as long as you have all of the tickets from the machine and you don't give any to the enemy team, it doesn't matter if they have control over the point because they don't have anything to deliver there. So if you're able to just play your life really well and keep control of those tickets, then you can just deny the enemy team of being able to score any points until eventually your team is able to. Because of that, KarQ's pretty good because you can just kind of pull a Scooby-Doo and say, let's split up, gang, and then have, you know, one hero go one way, and then KarQ and another hero go a different way. And then when the KarQ and the other hero are about to die, KarQ just teleports down to the guy that ran away first, and then just gets out, and they just kind of hang out together and hide until your third teammate who died can respawn. Because of that, going for tickets is more important than trying to get the point, just because the enemy team isn't forced to capture the point if it's going to be difficult for them to do so, or if they risk losing a fight, because you will hold on to the tickets forever. If you don't capture the point, eventually it will just run out of time and close itself, and then a new ticket machine will spawn, but all of the previous tickets from the older machine will still stay in play. There's actually one game on D.Va where at the end, after the Junkrat, I had 21 tickets on my person, just because I stole a bunch from the first machine and then just never died the rest of the time, and just kept slowly growing a small stash of tickets. Then eventually when my team killed the Junkrat, I got the flag and I got all of his tickets and had 21 and delivered it all at the same time, because there is no limit on how many tickets you can deliver at the same time. So next important for winning is probably what team composition you can pick. And unfortunately, for DPS players, the meta is not very DPS favored. The best team comp is usually KarQ, Brig, and D.Va. I've had a game where someone said DPS feels useless in this game mode, and they're not exactly wrong. It's just kind of a very stupid reason why you have to run this team comp, and it mainly boils down to the fact that you have two options. You either run 0 support heroes, or you run 2 support heroes. The main reason being that every team I've seen try to run a balanced 1 tank, 1 DPS, 1 support, or just run 1 support at all, have basically gotten stomped just because while the support can keep the other 2 people alive, who's going to keep the support alive? And the answer to that question is nobody. The support ends up just being a massive weak link in the team, and every single hero available is like a dive hero. You have a dive tank, 2 dive DPS. The support isn't going to be able to live. You just collapse on them and they die instantly if you don't have another support to heal your first support. So because of that, you're basically forced into running Brig and KarQ if you want to have any healing at all. And then it's just like, well, you only got 1 slot left, and who are you gonna pick? Tracer, Sombra, or, you know, D.Va, the character that has much more health, much more sustained DPS, and also has better mobility because boosters is just really good, and also defense matrix. If you have like a really cracked Sombra or Tracer player, you could probably get away with running, you know, 2 supports and a DPS, but for most people, they're just gonna want to run, you know, the standard D.Va, Brig, KarQ. So now for some tips against different enemy team comps. Regardless of what your team is running, you could play for fun, you could play for glory, trying to get those 500 points scored to get that challenge done, because god, that's kind of a nightmare if you aren't trying your ass off, at least for the time being. But generally playing against any, you know, 1-1-1 team comp, or 2 DPS and 1 support, you basically just go for the support first. If the enemy team is running a Brig, she kind of just dies. And if they're running a KarQ, she can teleport away, but then after that, she kind of just dies, because having only 3 people on each team, and all of them being, you know, dive frontline heroes, you don't really have a backline to teleport to as KarQ. Your options are, do I teleport to my Tracer, who's playing in the front line, or my D.Va, who's also playing in the front line? Both of them mean that you can very easily be followed up on and killed. If the enemy team for some reason is running no supports and running 2 DPS and a tank, honestly I think the best order would be to kill Sombra first, because she has the most limited mobility. All she has is Translocator and it doesn't restore her health, unlike Tracer Recall, which does restore Tracer's health and makes her harder to kill. Sombra should be easy to kill because you just go onto her, she translocates. So many heroes have the mobility to follow up in this game mode because, you know, Tracer, Sombra, and D.Va, and then you should be able to get rid of Sombra with that. Next up would probably be easiest to take care of D.Va if the team doesn't have any supports. Of course, they shouldn't have any supports because they're either not running supports, or B, you've already killed their supports because supports are higher up than Sombra on the kill this first list. And then Tracer's probably the last one because she can usually easily be scared off. She just has a lot of mobility, has recall, which lets her just restore her own health and also get more ammo and reposition. Probably the hardest of the three to really track down and take out, so she's better to be left for last after you've dealt with everyone else. Now, where it gets more interesting is if you are playing against another double support lineup. It could be double support tank or double support in one of the DPS, but the point is, of the two supports, you usually want to take care of the Brigitte first. Biggest reason why is that the KarQ is kind of harder to get rid of because while Swift Step doesn't take her out of combat completely, it does buy her a couple of seconds, and if you don't take care of the Brig first, then the Brig will just be able to throw a repair pack onto the KarQ after she uses Swift Step and keep her alive for much longer. Meanwhile, if you just collapse onto the Brigitte, you can usually burst her down and she has no movement to really get away from you, so that she can then be healed up by the KarQ. And it's like, if you're all focusing her down, you can usually just kill her through the healing anyways. But alternatively, if you have a D.Va, then you can just throw Defense Matrix over the enemy team's Brig, and now you'll DM Suzu if the KarQ tries to throw it on the Brig, you'll DM the healing papers. All of that gets blocked by DM, so the Brig will receive no healing. Then once the Brig is dead, you go onto the KarQ, because now the Brig can't peel for the KarQ, and the KarQ should die easily, because the only option she has to Swift Step to is her tank. So you just go onto her, she Swift Steps to the tank, you go on her again, kill her, and then D.Va is usually the last person you get rid of, simply because you have to get rid of the supports first. And this might not be for everyone. Well, I know it's not for everyone because people don't like GOATS meta, but if you play the mirror matchup, it is the most fun team-based Overwatch I've ever seen. It is the most, actual team-based shooter that Overwatch 2 has felt since it launched. It is very fast, very chaotic when you're running the D.Va and the two supports against each other, and it really feels like all of your abilities matter, all of your decision making matters. You have to focus the right targets, call out things as a team, call out abilities, call out stuff, focus down targets together, and it's just like, if you don't get the kill, then it's just like, if your tracking was just a little bit better, you would have gotten the kill. But it doesn't feel that bad because it's not like you died as punishment for not getting the kill. No, you just try again when you get boosters back online, or when you're healed back to full health, or, just try again. Do better next time. Get the kill on the target. Focus them down. Use your abilities correctly. Don't waste them. It's a lot of fun. Alternatively, if you do not want to run the meta strategy, something that my friend Theory crafted was that you could possibly play one support and a Sombra and the D.Va, and then play around the Sombra, hacking the health packs, because they put new health packs down on the map by each of the points. But the problem is some of the fights aren't going to be taking place near points. They're going to be taking place nearby where the ticket machines are, or maybe even somewhere else on the map completely. And at that point, your support isn't going to have support for themselves, and they're just going to be an easy target. There was one game we got where a team tried to run solo Brig support, and the Brig basically just played Respawn Simulator. Like, all we did was just look at her as a team, and she just fell over and died every time. She was 0 and 4 in the first 2 minutes of the game mode. And then after that, she swapped to KarQ, and it wasn't any better. Just because she Swift Steps, we chased after her, we kill her. There's no safe backline for her to teleport to. Just the frontline DPS and the frontline tank. So yeah, tiny goats, 1 tank, 2 supports is kind of the best team composition that I've seen for the game mode. Alternatively, if you're cracked and you have really good target focus as a team, you could maybe get away with running a full offensive comp of 1 tank and 2 DPS, but for a lot of people, that's probably not going to be that good. And it's not really like there's an easy way for them to fix it. If they say, oh, lock it to 1 of each role, then you just have a support player that's just going to be playing Respawn Simulator the entire game. Like, people are going to be left with the support role. They're just going to leave the lobby because they're not going to have any fun. It kind of just feels horrible trying to play solo support in this game mode just because every other hero is a dive hero, and you have nobody that's going to back you up. You can't even have the tank peel for you just because it doesn't work. Because first off, Defense Matrix does not block Brig damage. So if the enemy team is running a Brig at all, then you can't even Defense Matrix the Brig abilities because all of them are melee. And it's also like, well, you dedicate your D.Va to DMing your support to keep them alive. Now your tank is distracted just only DMing your support. your support is distracted by trying to not die. The only one in your team who can really do anything right now is the third hero, which is probably Tracer or Sombra because you're not running another support. And all Defense Matrix buys is 4 seconds for your Tracer/Sombra to do something against 3 people. And then as soon as Defense Matrix is gone, the support dies. Then the D.Va's probably taken a bit of damage just because she wasn't DMing herself, she was DMing her support. And now there's no healing for the D.Va, so the D.Va just dies. And then the Tracer/Sombra is kind of just boned in a 3v1 scenario. So yeah, it's basically just run D.Va, Brig, KarQ if you want to win the game. Target priority if the team is running the same thing is Brig first, then KarQ, then the D.Va. Target priority if the team is not running the same thing is whatever support they have first, or if they don't have any supports at all, then the order would just be Sombra first, then D.Va, then Tracer. That's what I found to be the best order when playing the game. So yeah, hopefully this advice can help a few people out when trying to get that achievement, because it kind of sucks that it's locked behind scoring points and not just, you know, playing matches like the other ones are, because it kind of forces you to have to actually win fights and score tickets, a lot of tickets in fact, in order to try and complete the challenge. So yeah, I'll set up about this now so that I can actually get the video out in a reasonable amount of time. So yeah, thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and until next time, see ya.